Good evening and welcome to another episode of Confidence Culture Conversations. Coach K, how are you doing?
Coach K is good to go today.
Okay. She is good to go. You heard it in here. She's good to
Yes.
go.
We missed our audience last week.
Yes,
And
we did.
yes,
Apologies. That was my fault.
well, you did something worthwhile and it's a worthy cause. Why not?
Mm,
And you worked yourself to the bones at Janaya School, and it was all about building communities.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Do you know what? I think me and you have been talking a lot about be the change you want to see.
Mhm.
If we're going to have impact somewhere or in a particular environment, we need to be involved in the environment.
That's
So if we want to impact in our schools, we got to be involved in there somehow. So
right. Yes.
yes.
Yes. And it's a good doorway for Tunji and yourself to get into and the schools and being the change maker there for
Absolutely.
Janaya's school and standing for righteousness.
There you go. We need representation.
Yes, we definitely need a representation. With
Hmm.
that, I did go and visit something within my local community, and they are willing to work with us.
Awesome. Awesome. I like
Well,
the sound of that.
yes, so it's a community based house. I mean, it's called Ashwood Place, and they do a lot of activities for the people who are struggling with dementia, depression, and they have lots of activities. And you know what? It was just right under my nose, and I never, me. Sometimes I need a wake up call, and you know what? It's such a lovely place and
Hmm.
they're doing a marvelous job. So they want to work with us, Elizabeth. And the meeting was bang. It was such a good meeting today.
Awesome. I love the sound of that.
Hey, and talking about communities, yesterday we were together in another good place. Elizabeth, would you like
Yeah.
to share about it?
So yesterday we were in Lewisham.
Hmm.
And I was running a workshop. I was facilitating a workshop where we were talking about confidence, and it was really interesting because when you're talking about a particular subject, it's great to make it relevant to the audience you're speaking to. And so in this instance, we were speaking to unpaid carers. These are people who have, whether it's given up work or, I mean, some of them still work, but they've basically kind of said, I'm going to look after my loved one. I'm going to stand in that position and look after my loved one. And sometimes it's that they have an elderly family member, a spouse, a sibling, whatever it is. And they're looking after them, or it might even be the person is ill or has some special needs and they need to look after them, and it can be very tiring, very taxing. It can be very draining as well, but also sometimes it's also quite fulfilling knowing that you're providing care for someone that you love. But we were talking to them about confidence, and being confident enough to speak up and ask for support, being confident enough to say, actually, I need a break, or you know um, I can't be taking this, because sometimes the people they're looking after can be rude, right? And it's not always a fault of their own. Sometimes they're mentally not with it,
Mm.
and so that's just the way they behave. So it was a really good session, and Coach K, you came along to support me, and it was great to have you in the room. How did you find it?
Oh, wow. I was totally blown away because there was so much of interaction, and
Mm,
I learned I learned a whole lot of I gained a lot of insight to some of the ways that they struggle through as carers,
Definitely.
and and also I learned that there is always support by the government, by the council, for people such as them, the carers.
Mm.
And there's so much of help that is given in this country. And it's amazing that the countries that probably you and I come from, they don't have this vast support for all these forgotten people in the society and in the community. And I really enjoyed me just sitting back and listening to them speak.
No, that's good. That's good. No, it was a really good session, and we celebrate the work that organizations like Imago are doing to
Mm-hmm,
just provide a space
mm-hmm,
for unpaid carers to come and just take a break. Come and take a break. And yesterday we had a surprise politician in the room as well.
mm-hmm.
So it was good for her to come and see what's going on and see her get involved in some of the activity we are doing. She advocates for unpaid carers. So for her to come and be on the ground speaking to unpaid carers makes such a difference, and it helps them to know that their voice is being heard. So yeah, it was a very enriching session, I must say.
Yes, most definitely, Elizabeth. And that ties up very nicely to our topic of
Our topic
discussion
today.
today:
Mm.
being unpaid carers and caring for your loved ones. You need a lot of patience.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
And today, the subject that we are broaching or we are unpacking is the benefits of being patient,
Mm.
and patience being a virtue that we all need to develop. It
Absolutely.
just doesn't drop down from heaven poof, into us, because it's something that's a going reality, a
Hmm.
growing reality that we all need to develop in all stages of our lives.
Very true. Very true.
So so as I was sitting and pondering, am I a patient person? I don't think I am.
Oh wow.
I can get short fused sometimes, especially if people you're closest to.
Mm, mm.
And because we just take them for granted and we poof, shoot
And of
out.
course, we usually have a high expectation on them as well.
Yeah.
Mm.
So so as I was thinking about it and reflecting, as we discuss, I think a lot of things that we will be discussing will also impact me today, I'm sure, with you too, Elizabeth, because it's
Yep.
going to be a rude reminder that we need to develop patience.
Mm. Yeah,
So,
no. Patience is so necessary no matter what sphere of life you find yourself in, no
mhm,
matter what community you find yourself in. Patience is so important, and thank God is patient with us.
yes, indeed. If not, we will be getting here fire and brimstones on us. And you know, uh, being patient is definitely a virtue that we need to develop. I
Mm.
just had a split thought about something, and now it's just gone. It's well, probably it will just pop up
It will
again.
come. It will come.
It will come. I think it's something that's really being patient is, of course, I mean, we're talking about it as in a broad spectrum, and when we are impatient in a world where everything is a quick fix,
Mm.
social media, sorry, I have to bring in social media, instant noodles, takeaways, we don't want to cook takeaway, call on the takeaway, and then we have like, we just wait for 20 minutes and we get a nice meal. It's not, you don't spend time preparing social media. Everything is ta ta ta. They always bring this noodles, the instant noodles. Everything is so instant, and
Mm,
yet there is so many benefits of acquiring patience, developing the virtue of being patient, and the skill is a good skill set.
absolutely.
So what are your thoughts about being patient, Elizabeth?
Wow. No, do you know what? Patience, you need patience. Any season in your life, you need patience. It's funny, sometimes I say to Janaya, be patient. And she's like, Mom, what are you even talking about? Like, just being able to grasp what it means to be patient is not always easy, like for kids. Um, but we all need patience. Getting anywhere in life, being successful at anything, it's not going to be a quick fix. And as they say, Rome wasn't built in a day.
Hmm.
So you can't expect, snap, 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 everything is sorted. Snap, 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 success is here. Snap, 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 this happens. No, 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 no. Success doesn't work like that. Whether it's a dream, whether it's a relationship, whether it's a job, whether it's whatever it is. And like when you mentioned about the people closest to us. Um, I sometimes find the impatience there because I expected you to know better. I expected more from you. So I need you to be more patient with me. But I think with patience, also patience kind of works hand in hand with being understanding. You have to be an understanding person. And you have to be willing to look at things from the other person's perspective. So it's not always about my way or the highway, but like, what's your way? Let me try and understand your way. And if we want to, so in September, I'm going to be in America for a conference. And one of the things that they're trying to achieve with the conference is building bridges. And you can think of building bridges maybe from like a relationship perspective, building bridges in a community, building bridges in families, building bridges in faith groups, whatever it is. And with all of that, patience is required. As long as whatever you're doing involves someone else, another human being, patience is necessary.
Well said, Coach Elizabeth. Well said. And yes, even as we being coach, we are coaching many people, we're mentoring, and sometimes our mentees or our coaches can try us
Mm.
if they're going around the circle with the same old point. But you know what? We have, I think, over the years, mentoring people and coaching people, we have acquired a level of patience.
A level of patience. Although I hear some people sometimes saying the older I've got, the less patient I've become.
Because it's also reflects our character and nature.
Mm,
When we lose our patience with our family, and also our in this scenario, our coaches and um, coaches and mentees, we always need to observe patients and to think good for their good, not
absolutely.
because they are not because they're a fee to our time, but generally I think they will also know when you are impatient, they can pick it up.
Mm,
So being compassionate and patient, I think it's a great combination. And being patient, one of the things is being patient, it helps us to be rational, realistic, to make our decisions.
mm,
And a lot of us, when we rush into making decisions, most times we make the wrong decision.
true.
So in terms of relationship, I love I love talking about relationships. A lot of us, if we have a failing relationship,
Mm.
then we rush into another relationship without being healed or without being sorted,
Mm-hmm.
and we do things on a rebound, and it is a recipe for disaster.
That's true.
So taking time for yourself to work out your brokenness, and then
Mm.
embarking on the new relationship is the way forward. But all this takes time. As much as you want to yield yourself to the Lord, this is, I mean, we are women of faith. We need to be healed first before we go on to the next relationship, in case there is brokenness in a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, Elizabeth, this is something that probably you would be able to shed light, is like choosing your life partner.
This is your topic when it comes to relationships. But you know what? No, patience is necessary. If we're going to make the right decision, we can't rush into it. They say that if you rush into it, you'll rush out of it.
Oh, okay, I've never heard
So,
that.
so don't just rush into it. Don't just rush into it. Have your whether it's, well, I don't want to say a checklist, because sometimes we put so many crazy things on that checklist. So let me say it's a mature checklist. I don't even know what to say, but have some things that some standards that you're looking for, and just be patient to see these things. But there's also how patient can I be? How long can I live it, kind of thing. And you know what? I think sometimes we can say we are being patient with something, but actually the thing is broken. So even in that being patient, like, don't be afraid to say this needs more. Like, we need to put more of this into this, whether it's a relationship, like we need to put more of this into this relationship, or we need to step away from this relationship, or we need to bring a third party into this relationship. Whatever it is, it's being able to like judge that. And I think patience kind of just gives you the space, gives you the time. And I think like when it comes to relationships, don't rush into it. Honestly, like why are they trying to rush it? What's the rush? Especially if they're saying they want to spend the rest of their lives with you. Like like let's slow down. Let's take it step by step. Let's go through the things that we need to go through. I remember like when I started having conversations with Tunji. Like, yes, we needed to be patient. I mean, we met and got married within 12 months.
Mm.
Literally 12 months. We met December, got married December the next year. But even in that 1 year, there were things we were doing. So as much as you're being patient, I think there are things, or there's a posture that you have in that place of being patient. So it's not just I'm sitting there and I'm watching the clock. That's not patience. There's things that you must be doing, whether it's due diligence when it comes to relationships, patience when it comes to like business. You have to, for anyone that is thinking of going into business, your patience is going to be tested, because you might start today and you might not see the results,
The fruits,
until a few months,
few
a
years.
year. You have to be patient. It's like, and one of the ways you can learn about patience is by looking at a farmer when they plant a crop.
Yeah.
The Bible talks about seed time, harvest. And I think I might have said this last time. I think I used the analogy again. But being able to, they plant something and it doesn't come up instantly. And different plants take different time frames. So some require more patience than others. So it's being able to realize that there is difference. There's difference. And so the way I'm patient with you might not be the way I'm patient with this other person, because there might be some other differentiating factors but I will still be patient. So it's acknowledging all those other factors as well that are affecting it all. But sometimes you can see how someone is impatient because of like the fidgetiness or the, I need to do this, I need to get this done. And sometimes it's just something is pushing you, your mind is not in the right place. It's easy to make the wrong decisions when we are in a place of impatience.
So since you're talking about business and being successful in business, it also helps, being patient helps us to have long-term goals.
That's it.
And to realize our dreams. Some dreams take a long time for fulfillment. Like the farmer, like developing a business. And it also reminds me of myself, when I was impatient with the way I wanted my business to be maneuvered and to be run. I made mistakes because I put the cart before the horse. So it is definitely a recipe for disaster. So when things take a slow pace meaning you're still taking action, you're developing a skill, you're building connections, you're maybe doing cold calls, or even building something while you are being patient for the next step to go on. And sometimes when you are, not sometimes, all the time when you are patient, you can see you'll see the picture a lot more clearer as more and more clarity comes to you, to see the bigger picture and how you have dreamt the dream will come to reality when you patiently wait.
That's it.
So patience also develops your listening skills, as many of us, we don't listen how the voice from someone else, when you listen, you might not take time to listen to what this person is speaking, especially if in a relationship or even in an office where you're a team leader, or you're leading a team, and your team member might be crying for help. So if you are not patiently listening to that person, you might lose that person, and conflict starts. So patience develops listening skills.
I like that. I like that. Hi, Ethel. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, Ethel.
No, I like that, and you're absolutely right. When we are patient, and I think this also links back to what I said earlier on about being understanding. And I always like to refer to this verse in the Bible, James 1:19, where it talks about be slow to speak, quick to listen, and slow to anger. And for me, that's like being patient. It means that I won't always jump in. Sometimes I'm just going to step back and listen more before I respond. So I like that you said, patience allows us to develop those listening skills. And you know what? I think not even just listening skills, but to develop skills. It allows us time to grow. Because in that time where we're being patient, it's opportunity to grow. It's opportunity for you to pick up a book and read, listen to a podcast, opportunity for you to, get a coach, get a mentor, opportunity for you to observe and learn from people who've gone ahead of you. And this is why I said earlier on about when you're in that place of I'm being patient, is how are you positioning yourself? There's some people who come into business and they think they're going to be an overnight success because they've seen people on social media making it seem like it's an overnight success kind of thing. But that's not how business works. It's not an overnight success. If you are going to build something that's going to last, if you're going to build something that's going to stand the test of time, it is not going to be an overnight success. There has to be elements of patience, and patience can help us develop good character. It's part of that character building. It's part of like who we are.
And we have been doing a lot this last couple of weeks on character building. And I think all that is building up to how it will all apply to whatever we are doing currently or for the future. And it's interesting that the Bible speaks a lot about being patient, because God saw in his infinite wisdom that man will be impatient. Hey, Abraham, yes, he was impatient. No, it was not Abraham. Sorry, folks. It's actually Sarah was impatient. She couldn't wait for the promise. And then she pushed Abraham into making wrong decisions. And what has happened now? I'll stop there.
Kiruba, you're opening up a whole can of worms. And maybe we don't need to go through that can of worms.
Yeah, but
Dr. Loretta, thank you for joining us this evening. So the event I talked about happening in America, where
North
I'm going
Carolina.
to speak, Dr. Loretta is hosting the event. She is the visionary of the event. So I'm excited and looking forward. So if you are in and around the Charlotte area, or you're in London and you want to travel along to support your sister, hey, join me. End of September, I'll be in Charlotte, North Carolina. It's going to be a great time. You can find the details on my Facebook page. You'll find the details.
Yes. So, yeah, I'm actually excited for you. Charlotte is a lovely place to visit, and also to go and spread your wings and do whatever you do best. Provoke the people there.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, when we are patient, we also make people comfortable, You carry the grace of patience and people gravitate towards you.
That's it. That's true.
So when people get sometimes you don't want to be near someone because there's this agitative spirit that they carry. Oh, I don't want to be near that person. So patience opens up a venue for others to like you more.
Like it increases your likability factor.
I like that. Likability factor. So if you really want to attract some good people around you, learn to be patient.
Do you know what? And just to add to that, I think patience allows us to see people's true characters. Like when we're just patient with them. A few years ago, I used to work in a call center. So I've had my fair share of working in call centers. And in some of the campaigns that I dealt with, they would tell you your call should last this amount of time. Like we want you to be on the phone, quick in, quick out. But obviously, you're taking calls from members of the public. You can get anybody on that phone. And sometimes when you're trying to rush them, it's easy to make a mistake. And I remember one of the worst calls you would get is just before you log out would be a call from somebody who is calling through on the blind helpline. And you would get the call and it says it in the earpiece. It says that the call is from this. And so you're like, oh no, I'm going to be here a while. And the reason would be like you would say something and then there's a computer typing it out for the other person so that they can read it, and then it would relay their message and then relay back. So there's a lot of back and forth, back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
So you just automatically know this is going to be a long call.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and patience sometimes is going to require like sacrifice. There's some things you must sacrifice. There's a price you must pay when you're exercising patience. And it's one of those things of, can I lose this? Or do I need to be a little bit more patient so I can get it? It could even be like, let's say you have a target to save up for something. If you want something really good, it's probably going to cost more. So are you going to be patient enough to just wait a little bit longer for this really good item? Or are you just going to say, no, I want it now, I want it now? You know, so patience helps us in that sense. But also, there's something I like to say between me and my sister, but now I'm going to say it here. But there's something I like to say, and it's literally, you can't, let me say it and then I'll explain it. But the statement is, you can't rush a Mirinda. So I grew up in Uganda, and we have bottled drinks like Coca-Cola, Fanta,
Mirinda,
and one of them is Mirinda. And it's really nice. It's a nice drink. It's sweet, you know, it's nice. And so, like, take your time. You can't rush a Mirinda. So sometimes when we're like trying to rush each other up, I'll just tell her, I'll be like, hang on a minute, you can't rush a Mirinda. So if you're going to enjoy the goodness of some things, whether it's the beauty of a relationship, whether it's the beauty of building your dream, it's like, I think I said this last time, if you're going to build something, the foundation is important. And the foundation takes time. Why? Because you're building down fast before you build up. You're building down fast before you build up. And so people might not see it. They might not see the dream, the full picture, because you're still digging down. You're still building down. But in the fullness of time, as you are patient and taking action, because it's not just about being patient, but patient and taking action, you start to see something rising from the ground. Something beautiful, something exciting. So if there's a dreamer listening to this, every dream requires patience. If there's anyone who's hungry for success, every success story requires patience. I'm sure you can sit down and speak to people who are successful in business, successful in athletics, successful in music, successful in whatever it is. And they will tell you they have had to exercise patience.
That's a very nice analogy, Elizabeth. Thank you. Building. If the foundation doesn't go down, because there is the surveyors or the draftsmen who put the program, I mean the picture,
the architects,
the architects, and whoever does, they have to calculate how deep the foundation has to go, the piling has to go for them to expend how many floors, or so it is, yes, patiently they have to do the piling, poop, 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 poop. And it's all about perseverance too. We talked about perseverance and how resilient you are tantamounts to your patience.
The R word is in the room.
The R word is in the room, and how resilient. And I'm not making a blanket statement here. Our young people these days always want a quick fix.
It's the generation that we're living in.
Yeah, it's the generation that we are confronted with, and they lose patience, they lack resilience, and they might be persistent, but please don't take me wrong. I am saying this with all humility, there's something that we need to develop. Patience, resilience, and persistence. And that is important to be the person of value. Elizabeth always speaks about, I'm a person of value. And all these ingredients to the bigger picture is important. And dear young people, the 20 something, the 30 something, the 40 somethings, you know what? Develop patience. And Elizabeth, we talked about, when we develop patience, of course, we also, when people see us, we carry the grace. It also encourages others. Oh, I want to be like that person, being patient.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, we set an example, and I guess we're being role models as well. And the truth is, people need to be patient. I know, yes, our social media generation, it seems like things are very quick. And Kiruba, you mentioned earlier on about the fact that, like, we want everything quick. We want everything quick. Even when people do videos, they'll show you, this is where we started, and then quick, this is where we ended. And it doesn't take that short time. They might have shown it and it seems that way, but they're trying to get the video shot, they're trying to get the reel to a certain length of time, so they will quicken it to then, it's like the cooking videos that you see. It's a reel, for the purposes of what it is, it's going to be 30 seconds, it's going to be 1 minute, whatever it is. So they're not going to show you the whole process. And process requires patience. So we can throw in the P words here. Like, if you want to passionately pursue your purpose, you are going to have to be patient.
Yes.
Finding purpose requires patience, because you don't find purpose in a day. Pursuing your purpose is not a one-time thing. It's a daily thing. It's something you do every single day. We have to, I think one of the things that's ringing at the back of my mind is the fact that we have to get to this place where we are patient with ourselves. Because sometimes that's where the issue is. It's not about being patient with others. What we struggle with is being patient with ourselves. And we are so quick to dismiss ourselves. We're so quick to say, but Elizabeth, why did you do it that way? You should have done it this other way. But actually, Elizabeth, be patient with yourself. You're just learning this craft. You've just grasped this skill. You're going to fail. But if you keep going, you will get to success.
You have to be a bit compassionate towards yourself, huh?
That's it. That's it.
Yeah, you always beat up yourself because, things are not going your way. But it's purposeful for it not to go your way, because you're learning. You're learning new skills. You're learning something that's, while you are pursuing your dream patiently, you're learning skills all the time, learning new things, new skills, developing your personal leadership, you're developing some new skills. So it's not a time waster. You will definitely you will hear naysayers, you know what, throw that business out of the window. It's not profitable. It's a loss center. It's a loss center. But you know what? Don't hear this negativity from people. Yeah. Don't listen. Don't hear. Don't give ears to the negativity, because you know what is implanted into you. What the destiny and purpose and decisions that God has put into your heart for you to bring forth. And that all needs patience and maturity.
Yes, it needs patience, maturity, and even faith. Faith requires patience. And if you're a person of faith, you're a person who who trusts God, trusting God requires patience. It requires patience. I mean, look at David. When was he anointed king? And how long did he have to wait before he actually took his place to sit on the throne? Patience. It requires patience. So, and there's a lot of teachings out there. Yes, you can get the promise. God will give you the promise. But in between the promise manifesting, there's going to be process. And that process is where you exercise the patience for you to then get the promise.
So, when you talk about that, it reminds me of the prophecies that we carry.
Yeah, you get the prophetic word, there's process, then the promise.
Yeah, well, I like that. All the 3 P's.
We can throw in as many P's today as possible.
I remember when I was born again, and I think when I turned 21, somebody gave me a prophecy about the man I will marry. But
wow.
when it came to fulfillment was when I was 47. I waited a long time. I never gave up.
And you could have rushed into it.
Yes.
And made the wrong decision.
Yeah. And I nearly did. My mother was always there backing me up with prayer and pulling me. Hey, this is not the one for you.
No, but Kirubai, the funny thing is, I almost made the wrong decision too.
Oh, all right.
I almost made the wrong decision too, and I had to be patient. And I remember one of the things that triggered me walking away from that relationship was something that my pastor's wife said to me. And, she basically reminded me of purpose and the promises of God and the things that I believed God was calling me into. And she said to me, do you see him standing by you? Like, do you see him? When you see the things that God has called you to, the things that God is promising you, when you see them with your eyes of the spirit, right? When you see them, do you see him standing there? Do you see him standing and supporting you as you walk the walk that God has called you to walk? And I was like, we call it quits. We call it quits. And I took some days to make the decision, to finalize the decision. And I made the decision. I said, that's it. And sometimes, like I think you mentioned when you posted about this, but you mentioned about clarity. Like sometimes during that time of being patient, it allows us to get clear. It allows us to gain clarity. It allows us to make better decisions because we are being patient. Don't rush into it. They say that, oh gosh, I've forgotten the saying now I wanted to use, but we can't be rushing into things, especially if it's an important decision, a life-altering decision, a decision that can affect the rest of your life. Don't just rush into it. Exercise some patience. And sometimes, like when it comes to relationship, like we're all like, oh, I'm in love. And love can blind us. It can blind us from the red flags, from seeing the red flags. It can blind us from all these things. It can blind us from seeing clearly. And they tell you to wait, and you're like, wait for what? I want it now. But you don't always know what the wait is about. But the wait can be necessary for you to get to the promise. It's kind of like if you're cooking something, it's not ready immediately, you put it in the oven. If I'm baking a cake, it's not ready immediately, I put it in the oven. There is process. This is what we process. And that's what I think that's where it's going to hinge. It's process. There is process. I might start off with, Kirubai, you wanted to bake a cake the other day, right? And you bought some ingredients. I might start off with my idea of this is the cake I want to bake. Ooh, yeah, it looks nice. I get the ingredients. I mix up the ingredients. I put it in the oven. I've got to be patient. I've got to give it time, because if I take it out before it's time, guess what? It's not ready.
It will sink.
It will sink. It will be gooey inside.
Yeah.
It's not going to be as nice as you want it to be.
Nice.
They say that
red
good
and
things
fluffy.
come to those who wait.
Oh, yes.
So what do you need to wait for? What do you need to be patient for in this season? Think about it.
Good question, Elizabeth. We all are waiting for something to happen this season. So while we are waiting, we are, of course, Elizabeth says, waiting, it is all in the process. But while we wait, we take action. Maybe, we talked about a few actions, but, don't forget to take that to the Lord in prayer. There's
Another
power
P.
there's power in prayer.
Absolutely.
Lay it at the feet of the Lord and say, Lord, I'm patiently waiting for an unfolding of the promise given. And prayer is a good thing. It develops resilience, it develops strength, and it develops your courage to go forth and say, the Lord will do it for me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So that patience is so necessary. And before we start to close, I'm going to throw it in here. So this Saturday, we are having the Kingdompreneurs brunch. I know you have been patiently waiting for it.
Yeah.
But no, this Saturday, we're having the Kingdompreneurs brunch. Let me see if I can show at least an element of the flyer. It's not going to show as nice on here, but the details are also on my page. It's happening this Saturday at 10:30. And we're talking about how to engage your faith to take action when building a business. How to engage your faith to take action when building your business. So you can be sure that one of the things we're going to be talking about is faith. The faith that you need to build the business that you desire, the business that God has called you to, or the business that God has laid on your heart to start. So join us this Saturday. I will share the link. If Tunji has not already shared it, let me share it. Oh, there you go. He's shared it as well. And I will share it too. But yeah, if you're in and around the London area, even if you're not in London, but you fancy a day out in London, then join us. I know someone who might be in the room who actually doesn't even live in London, doesn't even live in UK. She lives in Dublin, but she's thinking of coming because it so happens she was planning to be in London this weekend. So who knows? She might be in the room. So you who is in London, what is your excuse, right? Join us this Saturday. We have an amazing speaker, Sonia Marie. She's great. She's great at what she does. She's an expert. She's been doing this for years. So you want to be there. Click the link, get details, register, send the details off to your friends, your enemies, your loved ones, anyone else in your circle that you know needs to be there. Send it to them and join us. The more the merrier. But I hear it's only 10 spaces. So oops, I said the more the merrier, but we're limiting it. So get in there quick.
Get in there quick. Exclusive, huh, Elizabeth?
Yes, it's exclusive, and we're using a different venue from the venue that we usually use. So I am looking forward to experiencing something new.
Great. So with that, is there any last words from you, or wise one?
She says, oh, wise one. No, I think for me, it's just about like whatever it is that you want is going to require patience. A successful relationship, a successful marriage, a successful business, patience. As a parent, I have to be patient constantly. I said it before. If you are doing anything that involves a human being, another human being, which all of us have interaction with human beings day to day. You walk out of the house, they come to your house to do some work. You go to work, they're there. You go to school, they're there. Like, they're in your public transport when you're going. They're all human beings, are all around us, right? You have to learn to be patient. You have to exercise patience. Yes, the world, society might seem like we are a get rich quick, get this quick microwave generation, but it's going to require patience. And I'm going to throw it in there for anyone who is particularly watching this and you're involved in some form of ministry or the other, whether, let me keep it to ministry. Don't rush into it. Don't rush for a title. Don't rush into things that God, yes, has prepared for you, but it's not yet time. There is a process. There is a process.
Yeah, timing is everything.
Like David, he was anointed, but there was a process. In that process, he was learning, he was developing new skills. So much was happening. He was growing so that he could be ready for the assignment. So don't rush it. Don't try to get into it too fast. Don't make the wrong decision, a decision that you might regret for the rest of your life. Anyone embarking on a relationship, don't rush into it just because of your age, because culture is pressuring you, because society is pressuring you, because the church is pressuring you, because people around you are looking at you and saying you have passed your sell-by dates.
You are left on the shelf. Well, I heard it many times been spoken.
Shine on that shelf. Shine on that shelf, girl. Shine on it. Shine on it. Wherever you find yourself, shine. In whatever season you find yourself,
shine.
Shine. When you are patiently waiting, don't be like, it's not coming. No, live your best life. Like, be your best. Shine at your best while you are waiting. I shined at my best. That's why I got my man. I shined while I was waiting. Don't get me wrong. I went through a waiting period. I didn't get married in my 20s. Got married in my 30s. I went through the waiting period too. And in that time, I was being built. I was being shaped. You know, when an artist is building something, modeling something, they take their time. They don't just rush it. They don't just throw paint. Boom. Well, there's some who just throw paint, right? But they take their time. They take their time with it because they want it to be a beautiful, beautiful creation. So whatever it is, whether it's a dream that you are working on or you are thinking of working on, put patience into your toolkit because you're going to need it along the way. I think that's my last word, Kirubai.
I've got nothing more to say. I'm spellbound.
And on that note, we will see you next week, Tuesday, for episode 70. Because this is episode 69, right? So we will see you next week. Thank you to everyone who has joined us. Like, we had people joining from all over because Dr. Loretta is based in UAE. So, and we had Tunji, we had Pastor Folu, I think, joining us as well.
Yeah, so, Ethel from Nigeria.
From Nigeria. So, you know, spread the word. Send this to somebody else that you know needs to listen to this, or somebody that needs to exercise more patience. Just say, oh, I think you could, you know, this can benefit you. Yeah. Like, I watched it and it really helped me. So maybe, you know, you can listen to it too, right?
Because this is real talk, folks. Real talk.
It absolutely is.
Uncensored. Uncensored.
Absolutely is. But thank you so much for joining us. And we look forward to seeing you next week for another episode. And if you are watching this on replay, comment comment. And if you would like to have further conversations around it, please feel free to get in touch either with myself or with Coach Kirubai on any of our social media pages. But yeah, that's it from us. God bless you.
Bless you.